Hannon-Moonstone about the salmon farm.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
No?
No? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Alright. So I'll be talking about fallback of trap and track salmon in the Winooski River. So I've been doing this work out of the Lake Champlain Fish and Wildlife Office, along with, if you were here earlier, for John Ritter's talk. He's been working on this with me.
Jadziah, could you slow down just a little bit?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Alright, so some perspective on where the Winooski River is. It's on the other side of the lake. It's a major tributary to Lake Champlain. And we have 4 dams in the lower Winooski. We've got the Winooski 1, Gorge 18, Essex 19 Dam, and Bolton Dam all the way up here. Alright, so in 1993, they actually built the Winooski 1 dam, and they started moving fish. They built a fish lift as part of their park relicensing. They were mandated to start some passage. So some of the goals of that were to create a quality stream fishery for landlocked Atlantic salmon in the Winooski River. So previously, salmon could not get up into the Winooski River, and we started, since the recolonization efforts in the 70s, they couldn't get past that point in the Winooski River. So we really wanted to move them up into good habitat. And we wanted to encourage natural reproduction. We had been dumping fish in the lake for a long time and wanted to kind of make them do some of the work. So one of our goals is to really get the fish to spawn in the rivers and get some natural reproduction in there. So here's kind of an idea of how many fish we lift every year. And laid over top, you can see the sea lamprey wounding rates for the Winooski River, for the lake actually, over our return rates. So you can see as that fluctuates through the years. The last 2 years have not been amazing years, but we've still been collecting all those fish and moving them up. So we started doing some radio telemetry work. We wanted to see what they were doing once we put them up there. So some of the goals of this study were to evaluate the fallback of these fish and to figure out how long it took them, what number of them fell back and how long it took them to fall back. So we collected the fish at that fish lift that I was talking about. We tagged them with radio telemetry tags. And in 2018 we got 21 fish. In 2019 we got 54 fish. And then we released them upstream of the 3 lower dams in the lower Winooski. So here's kind of an idea of what my sites look like. We have fixed radio antennas. That's a site along the Huntington, which is a tributary to the Winooski. So I had 4 stations monitoring the river in 2018, and I had 14 in 2019. And then I would download the data regularly. So this is where we released the fish in 2018, and previous to 2018, from 1993 until 2018, this is where we released the fish. We wanted to figure out how many of the fish left the river before spawning occurred. So the premium spawning habitat is this section of the river above Essex 19. So there's very little good spawning habitat below Essex 19. So when we put the fish up there, if they fall back, they are basically removed from our effective population up there. In our system, once they go over Essex, they're basically gone from our natural reproducing population. So this is what our fish did in 2018. This is all 21 fish. Again, a pretty small sample size of fish, but you can see here all 21 of them. Some of them stuck around, and many of them fell back pretty much in the first two weeks. So 48% of the fish, 10 out of 21, fell back. We took our date of spawning from Eggweed, which is a hatchery not far from, not on the Winooski, but not far from the Winooski, as our proxy date for spawning. So then we asked the question, okay, half our fish are falling over the dam. What would happen if we moved the release site? That's the easiest management action we can take. So we moved the release site, hoping to increase the time that it would take for them to fall back Theoretically, if they're up there longer, they might get a better chance to spawn. And lowering the proportion of fish that fell back in total, keeping more of them up there through the spawning season. So as you can see, here's 2018, and we moved them up to this release site a little bit further up, almost twice as far. And then we looked at the time to fall back, and we found in 2018 it took 10.9 days for them to fall back over the dam, and in 2019 it took 12.5, even though they were almost twice as far from the dam. So we found no significant difference in the time that it took them to fall back, which was actually pretty shocking to us. So then you can see the difference, males versus female in 2018 versus 2019, showing that it didn't change much. And then this is our fish in 2019. After we moved the release site, like I said, we had 54 fish, greater number, which we were all happy about. And you can see a lot of lines on there. This is just the fish that fell back. So we had 14 fish that fell back out of that, and you can see it's 26% fell back. And again, we took the spawning date from that weed a couple days later this past year than in 2018. Which you can see the results. That you think that 26 would be a lot lower than 48%, but because of low sample sizes, we found no significant difference, likely due to our small sample size in 2018. So this shows the proportion fell back in 2018 versus the proportion in 2019. And then in congregate, we have 23% of our fish falling back year to year. And so with that, we think there's other factors involved. So moving forward, we want to look at other things that might affect the fallback because due to our analysis, it's probably not the release site. So we want to look at the CFS as it goes over the dam, see if that affects when they fall back, if high flow events are causing them to fall back. There's some effect from our tagging, and then we want to look at some overwintering. So as you saw from the previous slide, many of the fish have stayed around, and that graph only went till the 20th of December, but I still have many fish up in the river. So we want to figure out when they actually move out. We all thought it would be right after Christmas, and we're all still monitoring. So it'll be really interesting to see when they move out and whether that's temperature or flows or what can affect that. And then we want to look at habitat use in the Winooski River, see where they're using within that system. And then passage time is our final thing that we're going to look at, is how long it takes once they go over S619 to get below the dam. Once they approach S619, how long does it take them to get below S619? And the same at Overwintering and Winooski 1. So those are things we report. And then I'd like to thank everyone